This is the Everything Weight Loss podcast with Shari Ware, where we talk about everything, all things, anything to do with weight loss, health, and wellness. So today we're talking to Pia Richardson, who is a life coach, a hypnotherapist, and host of the Mum Whisperer podcast. She has a passion for community development and is an advocate for social change with a background in social science and psychology. She's been inspired to develop a community where people can take small steps towards a more holistic lifestyle and gently nurture their body, mind, and soul in a way that is sustainable and strength-based. All definitely speaking my language. Welcome to the podcast, Pia. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Shari. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. So my very first question is, I'm going to ask you, why do you do what you do? Because I feel that when we're working in the space that we're working in, it's because something has brought us to that. So what is it for you?
So I come from a background of family trauma. I went through quite a lot as a young child. I was passed around from family member to family member because my mother was an alcoholic. And I carried that through into my adulthood and became an addict myself. So when I got clean and sober, I was actually really young. I was only 23, which was very encouraging for me. And I knew as soon as I got clean and sober that I wanted to get out there and help other people. Fortunately, I decided to have a family first. And that kind of put the brakes on a little bit. So I've just been slowly working towards getting out there and living my dream of helping others to thrive.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations at the tender age of 23 to have gone through, that whole addiction thing and beat it is absolutely amazing. I feel that your life as a parent has probably given you even more tools to be able to help others with. Would you say that would be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And my journey as a parent, I went through postnatal depression, and that just added to the layers of experience. When someone comes into my rooms, I can meet them where they're at because I've been there.
Yeah, wow, awesome. So what would you say I call it people's superpower is? What's come out of everything that you've gone through that you now use to help others?
Resilience, hands down. Just the ability to keep chipping away, no matter how many setbacks there are. And I find that when I'm working with people, if someone's having a hard time finding those tools to heal, having that resilience and that commitment to break through can really help them.
Awesome, because I don't know, it sounds like you've probably been on the same kind of journey that I've been on, in that it's not a one size fits all. Different things work for different people. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so with what you help people with, what would you say would be the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to all of these things, their health and wellness, and what they come to see you for?
So probably the biggest mistake I see people make coming into my rooms is wanting a Band-Aid and wanting someone to fix them. And unfortunately, working in the hypnotherapy industry, it's quite often that people are wanting that, but they quickly realize that there's much more to healing than just doing the Band-Aid work. That it takes hard work and lots of layers and lots of tears, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that people try to do too much too soon.
Yeah, okay. So what do you typically help people with? What kinds of problems?
I really see a variety of clients. I do see quite a lot of weight loss clients, and I really find that each client that I have is really multifaceted and very different from the next. But yeah, I see a variety of clients.
So what would you say would be this? Would there be a step or a couple of steps that is basically universal for most people that they need to take for their health and wellness? And what would be one of those action steps that or an actual step that they could take action on after listening to this podcast?
I would have to say self-love. Um, before you can start any part of the healing process, even if you can't fully love yourself, it's vital to come to a place where you can accept yourself as you are and start to take that journey towards loving yourself. Because as long as you're not loving yourself, you're not able to treat yourself with the kindness and respect that you deserve, because you don't believe that you deserve it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one that I definitely have come across myself in my own journey and when working with other people. So now I'd really like to ask you about your new project that you've started.
So yes, I've started a group, and it's about changing our life slowly rather than going on diets and making big drastic changes that are completely unsustainable and unmanageable for most families.
So what kinds of changes?
So at the moment, I'm focusing on nutritional changes. We've been through a little bit of a spiritual awakening in our family and starting to realize that unhealthy foods and overly processed foods, more to the point, are not doing our mental and spiritual state any good. But it's been a real challenge for us because we've been a meat and potatoes family forever. We've been a get Maccas on the way home from work family forever. And those kind of changes, you can't just steamroll in and say, that's it, everything's changed, because eventually someone's going to fight back.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially you have children in the mix as well. So how old are your children?
Yeah. My children are 6, 8 and 11, and I have 2 veggie haters. So
wow.
I'm getting really creative. Well, Daddy is a veggie hater, so I'm getting really creative with learning how to incorporate veggies into a meal without anyone knowing that they're there.
Awesome. Okay, so you've basically gone from, and this is why I absolutely loved seeing you begin this project, because it's something that I know a lot of families, first of all, they haven't realised yet, but then when they do come to the realisation that it's in their best interest to start to change, it feels so hard because people so big and so hard, because people think they have to do everything at once. And the way that you are doing it is literally one small change at a time, which is everything that I advocate. And you have mum, dad, and 3 fairly young children, that you've gone from the way that most people are brought up to eat, because that's the thing. It's not that it really is that we're just following the way that we've been raised, and we didn't know that it wasn't healthy for us, because none of our parents meant to. That's how they were raised, and that's how they raised us. So you are now transitioning your family to what you believe is a better way of eating, and a better way of nourishing your body. And I'm sure it doesn't just come down to nutrition. I'm sure that as you go along there are other things that you're wanting to make changes in. But I understand that it's a big thing for a whole family to change and keep the harmony in the family, and you're managing to do that one change at a time. So tell me a bit about the trials and the tribulations, and how you started to approach this. Did you talk to the family about it? Did you all come to a decision? Tell us about the whole process.
Yeah, so we did discuss it as a family. My husband really isn't a big vegetable eater, but he also recognised that he was eating too much meat and wants to slowly remove meat from our lives. So we had a discussion about that. I talked to the kids about the fact that I didn't want to be including so much packaging in their lunches. I went from that angle for them, and they were really on board with that. We haven't had sandwiches in our lunches for 6 weeks now, which is
Wow.
and so we haven't bought packaged muesli bars or anything like that, which has been, it's really nice. It has been one big part of it. I used to fill a garbage bin full of boxes and wrappers every week.
Wow.
So that's been a big change. But yeah, they are on board and they are happy as long as I don't go too far with them. We're slowly removing the fast food and stuff from our scope, rather than doing it all at once. But the kids now understand that if we don't have fast food for a few weeks, we can actually go out for dinner. And they like going out for dinner. So just little things like that.
Yeah. So it's about finding trade-offs or swaps that everybody's happy with to give you the incentive to keep making that small progress.
Yeah, absolutely. And just finding what works and really trying to stick with it and sharpen that as we go.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and so how long ago did you start this process?
It would be about 6 weeks ago, at the end of school holidays. Before that we were doing HelloFresh, and the kids quite enjoyed that. We were wasting a lot of lettuce, though the kids don't like lettuce. So that's when I decided that I would try and create something like HelloFresh myself, without all the packaging and all the wastage. But it's been about 6 weeks.
Awesome. Okay, and so 6 weeks is a fairly decent amount of time for you to notice some differences or some change. What kinds of changes are you noticing?
I wouldn't say I notice change behaviourally or anything with the kids, but definitely they are adapting really well to picking their lunches in the mornings. They're not as hungry in the afternoons, so they're obviously being sustained for longer. And it doesn't seem like I'm giving them a lot, but they always tell me I've given them too much food.
Wow.
In their lunch boxes. So they're getting protein and stuff like that to really keep them fuller and fuel their bodies better.
Awesome. So you are noticing some changes. What about, are they saying that they feel better, or have they not noticed a change in them?
No, I haven't noticed that. No, but I feel better. I have noticed that I have put all my attention on preparing for the kids, and now I need to focus on things that I can bring to my office that I don't need to be heated up. But yeah, I'm really happy that the kids have got that change, and they are thriving from it, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, and so what's your plan? Do you have a plan that you're following?
No. No, I look for healthy recipes online. I do a meal plan each week, shop for it, and try and include healthy snacks in that. Gradually, we will cut meat out of our diet, till probably not to become vegetarian, but until it's not the main ingredient, and definitely sugar. Slowly cutting out sugar and buying more organic produce. But it's been really hard to fight that all or nothing mentality with the organic, because I can't get organic in everything, and part of me wants to go, oh well, what's the point? But as I keep making those changes and they become more prominent, it will matter.
Yes, absolutely. And even if one thing, because I started the process probably a couple of years ago now, where I started switching to organic, but I also realised that it wasn't something that I was going to be able to do everything all at once, because it's just too much of a financial commitment. If you're going to go through your whole house and replace everything with organic, it's really difficult. And also sourcing. It's not always easy to get organic, but what I would do is whenever I would go shopping, when I ran out of something and had to replace it, if it wasn't organic, if what I was replacing wasn't organic, then I would spend time looking for an organic alternative. And if I could find an organic alternative, I switched it, and then that switch was then made forever. So I still am switching. There's still some things that I haven't switched yet. However, most things in my home, and not even just food, even cleaning products and things like that, are now better alternatives. So feeling really happy about that. But like you, I didn't try and do that all at once. I did that one change at a time. And especially when you're talking about the meat, because we're the same. We decided that we wanted to reduce our meat, not go. I don't want to go vegetarian or vegan. I still enjoy meat, but I just realised that it's healthier. We were having too much of it, from what I have come to believe is good for our health. So reducing it was a really good thing, which we have done. And I'm talking going from, we would even have meat with lunch as well as dinner most days. So going to now where we only have meat probably for dinner 2 or 3 times a week maybe. So it's been a process like you're going through. So well done on taking that approach to it. And I love seeing your progress, and I love what you're doing in your group. So what's your group called?
That's a good question. It's very lengthy and I can't remember it. What is it? Our process of elimination, one family's journey to holistic health, I think.
Yes, that sounds like it. But what I will do is I will put the link to the Facebook group in the show notes, so that if anybody wants to join that group, and I highly recommend that you do, if this is something that you're currently going through or something that you are considering going through, especially if you have a family, children, it can be difficult to go through that process, then definitely I would recommend you to join Pia's group, because she's doing some awesome stuff in there, and you just never know what's going to help you and your family. So thank you so much for joining me today, Pia.
Thank you, Shari.
And I will put all of the links to be able to connect with Pia further in the show notes. And I'd love for anybody, if you have any questions that you would like to ask away, and we'll get them answered. And any comments or feedback is definitely sought after and gratefully received. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.